He gave his life to the game, major titles, Premier League nights, a name etched into darts history, then suddenly gone. No warning, no invite. James Wade was erased from the biggest event in darts like he never existed. But this wasn't just about darts. It ripped through his identity, left him spiraling, and almost cost him everything. So what pushed Wade to the edge, and how did he claw his way back? For most of the 2000s, James Wade was a top player in darts. He was calm, deliberate, and dangerously consistent. He won the 2007 World Match Play at just 24, and just a year later, he bagged the Premier League. Wade won his first matches in the PDC World Championship in 2007 by beating Warren French and Dave Ladley to reach the last 16. He was awarded with the PDC's Young Player of the Year, and his world ranking had climbed to number 11. But his story didn't end there. He kept climbing the ranks. Wade returned to Blackpool for the 2007 World Match Play and claimed the title. This was his first major televised tournament success, and he became the youngest player ever to win a PDC televised event in doing so. His route to the title and £50,000 check saw him beat Wayne Jones, Dennis Priestley, Mervyn King, Adrian Lewis and Terry Jenkins in the final. Although Wade's victory was nothing short of emphatic over the ever-tenacious Jenkins, many believe his semi-final victory over Lewis was one of the finest performances ever seen at the Winter Gardens. Both players averaged 101, but it was Wade's finishing as he checked out almost 17% of his doubles, which saw him triumph 17-7 over Lewis.
Knows this could be his last throw. The magic with which Wade has been hitting the doubles, you can't see him missing this, Dave, can you?
36.
Double 18 to round off a truly great performance. Double 9, and that is one of the great televised performances from such a young player. Simply terrific.
No hype from
His 1870 win over Jenkins in the final saw him move up to world number 3. The machine wasn't done dominating. He also won the next PDC major tournament, the World Grand Prix in Dublin in October, beating Van Barneveld by 5-1 in the semi-finals, and once again denying Jenkins his first major title in the final by winning 6-3. These successes saw Wade being crowned the 2007 PDC Player of the Year and PDPA Players Player of the Year. He had 7 major titles by his late 20s, more than any other active player apart from Phil Taylor. But while the public saw a machine, cool under pressure and ruthless at the hockey, the man inside was crumbling. For years, Wade had struggled to understand the turmoil inside him. His moods would swing violently, and still he played, still he won. But it was all catching up. In 2009, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and ADHD, a rare, almost unheard of public admission in darts. He could have hidden it, could have said nothing, put on the same poker face and carried on, but instead he opened up. Later, James admitted, "I was in a very dark place. I didn't know who I was anymore. I didn't want to be ashamed of who I was," he said. "People needed to know why I sometimes looked angry or didn't talk much. It wasn't arrogance, it was survival." But survival would only get harder. It reached a breaking point in 2013. James Wade faced a significant defeat at the Masters tournament in Edinburgh. He suffered a 10-1 loss to Phil Taylor, averaging only 73 during the match. This performance was notably below his usual standards. After this televised loss, Wade walked off stage not with anger, but with a look of deep, quiet defeat. But this defeat was about to become a big problem for Wade. In early 2014, the PDC made its announcement of the Premier League lineup, one of the biggest stages in darts. For nearly a decade, James Wade had been a fixture in the game, a reliable draw and a top performer. But this time, his name wasn't on the list. He hadn't been injured, he hadn't quit, he was just left out. For Wade, this wasn't just a professional setback, it felt like a rejection of his entire identity. "It broke me in two," he later admitted. "Everything I thought I was, everything I'd built my life around, was gone overnight." To understand the weight of that moment, you have to understand what the Premier League meant. It wasn't just prize money, it was visibility, status, validation. By throwing him out of the Premier League, the PDC hadn't just said he wasn't good enough. It had said he wasn't worthy. And for a man battling bipolar disorder, that kind of public exclusion wasn't just painful, it was dangerous. Wade retreated, from the spotlight, from interviews, even from people who cared. He later admitted he didn't know if he'd ever play at the top level again. Self-doubt took over, and with it came the old, familiar thoughts, the ones he'd spent years trying to fight off. But deep inside, something was still burning. Not anger, not pride, just something simple, the belief that he wasn't done. Wade was secretly planning his return to the top of the ladder. Then came the 2014 Masters. It was a non-ranking tournament, but still a big one, a chance for the game's best to show what they've got. James Wade wasn't expected to go far. He hadn't played like himself for months, confidence was low. According to some fans, the fire was gone. In fact, in October 2013, Wade reached the semi-finals of the World Grand Prix, where he lost 5-1 to Phil Taylor, extending his winless run against Taylor to 18 matches.
Tops.
32.
Well, just to give yourself another chance of reeling it back in on double 16.
James a bit disappointed. Likes tops, likes tens, didn't really throw very good dart either. You can see on Phil's face, this is awkward. Awkward, he doesn't know awkward. Remember the double 8 here, earlier in the tournament. He's got the beating of Wade.
Taylor remarked afterwards, "James didn't click. He was gone. It's the first time I've ever seen him gone. He told me afterwards that he just gave up." But round after round, something shifted. The rhythm returned. Wade eliminated all his opponents one after another. Wade beat Taylor in a major event for the second time inside a month in the semi-finals of the Masters 11-9 with an average of 105.56. This took him to the final against Mervyn King. Wade started the final poorly to fall 5-0, 6-1, 9-2 and 10-6 behind against Mervyn King. But incredibly, King would miss a total of 8 match darts as Wade won the last 5 legs of the match to defeat King 11-10 and take his first major title for 3 years. Wade hit a 135 checkout in the last leg.
Oh, great dart.
34.
Might go ball first here, John. 25 leaves 110. Oh, that leaves 85.
He's got it for tops! For the match! He's done it! What a comeback from James Wade! Mervyn King, bemused, baffled, he can't believe that he's lost that one. He cannot believe it. James Wade.
The comeback was later named the televised performance of the year at the PDC's annual awards dinner. "I needed that," he said afterward. "Not for anyone else, for me." The Masters comeback didn't just prove Wade still had it, it gave him back a sense of self, a sense of worth. He returned to the top 10. Wade went on to win more titles and silenced critics. But more importantly, he never hid who he was again. He used his platform to talk openly about mental health, especially in a sport where toughness is often confused with silence. He became a voice for others who struggled, not by preaching, but by existing and being visible, by saying in his own quiet way, "You're not alone." James Wade may never be the loudest or the flashiest, but in many ways, his story is one of the most powerful in darts. Because this isn't about trophies, it's about what you do when the world tells you you're no longer needed, when your mind becomes your biggest opponent, when the thing you love feels like it no longer loves you back. He was left out of dart's biggest event, and he could have faded away, but instead, he got revenge. Not with bitterness, but with brilliance. Not with noise, but with quiet strength. James Wade's greatest win wasn't a 9-darter, it was surviving and still choosing to step up to the oche day after day, still choosing to fight, still choosing to believe.